All right, Buffs Nation, what is going on? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday. It is my pleasure to be back here giving you all the Colorado sports content here at David Talks Buffs. I am honored to have a very special guest back on the show as always. He is the voice of Denver sports. You might have remembered him as longtime co-host of The Drive for many, many years. And he is now the voice of Alamosa and has some pretty cool podcast endeavors going on now. Let me welcome you, Darren McKee, DMac, to the show. DMac, how are you doing?
What an intro. Wow, I'm choked up. I love it. Hey,
oh man,
Alamosa and Monte Vista. Do not forget. Now, when those two go at it, step back. But and hey, I got a little publicity. I don't know if got my voice on ESPN and Fox. Did you hear me today?
I did not. You gotta catch me up with that. I've been locked away here in the lonely corner of my bedroom. So you got to get me up to speed with this.
Well, I asked Sean Tate if he had any regrets about his comments and about Nathaniel Hackett, and that got played everywhere. I was just casually scrolling around, like, oh, First Take, oh, Get Up, oh, Colin Cowherd. I was like, oh. Glad to help you guys out. Glad to help the fellas out.
Well, man, it's time we get a regular DMac show, on ESPN, on Fox Sports,
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Forget that. Are you kidding?
But I know since we've last talked, you've had some development with your own endeavors. Can you give my listeners who are live or on the replay a little synopsis of what is the Kill You With Truth podcast?
Okay. Well, since I got gizhed, I was like, well, I am looking for a job. I am. Maybe sanitation. Maybe driving a bus. But whatever. And I just found, hey, you know what it really was, David? I've had my kids tell me for years and years and years, do a podcast, do a podcast, do a podcast. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, what am I doing? A podcast? But you know what? The Kill You With Truth podcast. There's a morning version. There's an afternoon version that I do with Chad Brown and Nate Jackson. And the concept is pretty simple. It's only about 15 or so minutes long. So it's relatively short. The concept is if you had to get in your car and more or less drive to work or drive home from work, can I give you kind of my take on the biggest stories of the day, which at this time of year tend to be about football. But as we go on, I certainly envision talking about other things, and I can try to give you insight from actually being at these things in Denver, like kind of a fly on the wall sort of thing. And we have fun. There's humor involved. I don't take it all that seriously. I'm not like a outrage podcaster. I see a lot of these podcasts and people are, damn, dude, what's wrong with people? They all seem to be really pissed off about sports.
Yeah, I know. We need more laughing. We need more smiles. Sports should be something that we're enjoying. If we're just angry, what are we doing, man? What are we doing?
I mean, on most podcasts, would somebody take a drink of wine?
Man, I love it.
I don't know.
I want to say too, for anybody that's listening, I did put DMac's YouTube channel, which is going viral right now, in the description, as well as a link to his Spotify show. Y'all go subscribe to this.
Right,
and man,
the
YouTube channel blowing up, man.
No, it's this way. High five. No, other way. Boom. There you go. No, we did right. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Okay.
Man, I love it.
Talk about the Buffs or what though? We got to talk about the Buffs.
Let's get to it. You have allegiances to both schools. You did your post game, of course, in Sun Devils gear. I mean, where do you want to start off? You want to start off with Buffs or with how Kenny Dillingham coached? That was pretty impressive, or pretty impressed.
Yeah, well, the reason why I root for the Sun Devils is my older son, who's now 23, went to ASU, and he was there for 5 years. He got caught up in the pandemic stuff, so he spent like an extra year there. And listen, going to Arizona State, was the best thing in the world for him. And he moved back to Colorado afterwards. So he was down with some Colorado friends who also went to Arizona State. There's quite a few Colorado people that actually went to ASU. And so I've been watching Arizona State football and basketball and baseball for the better part of 6 years. And we've gone through the entire Herm Edwards time. We got Bobby Hurley still as the coach of the basketball team. They've gone. Tracy Smith got fired as the baseball coach. So I've kind of lived and died with the Devils. And I'll tell you this: almost every single year, they pull off some sort of upset. I remember being down for Parents' Weekend, Connor's freshman year.
Yeah.
And it's 100 degrees at 10 o'clock at night. I mean, it is brutal. I mean, I hate it. But they upset Washington. And Washington was like a top 5 team, I think, in the country. And they upset Washington. And Connor calls, goes, "Mom, Dad, where are you?" He goes, "I'm down." He goes, "I'm down on the field. Where are you guys?" And we're like, "That's awesome. What a game." We're in the hotel room in the air conditioning because we were about to pass out because it was so brutal. But because I've been there and I know what it's like, I'm telling you, David, that is a tough damn place to play. And it was very warm. And I know they had struggled against, Fresno States of the world, and they hadn't had a good season so far. But I have just seen Arizona State pull off upset over upset after the year. CU's definitely a better team, and Shadur is definitely a better quarterback. But I was highly concerned or encouraged by this game for ASU or for CU because I knew it posed kind of, I think, a bit of a trap game for CU, who's undoubtedly better. And listen, man, my hat goes off to Shadur Sanders. That dude is just a flat out winner. He's got ice in his veins. They weren't having a great game. Obviously, the offensive line is not good. I'm being nice. They are not good. And of course, Shadur caught him. He had to have a moment. He gave himself a little timeout on the bench just to sit and think about things. But he kept his composure. And when they needed it the most, he was there with 50 seconds to go. It was crazy. Maybe you would know better than me because you probably watched it a little bit closer. But how in the world did the CU defense, who played so great in that second half, allow, what was that, a 96-yard drive? I mean, how did that happen?
Oh, yeah. A lot of it is just playing off cover, like just switching up what we were totally doing. We gave up a drive at the end of the first half, too. That was a shorter drive because it was a kickoff, and then we had a personal foul tacked on it. But both of those drives, at the end of those halves, we'd go into this prevent, less conservative. And, I mean, you know how these prevent defenses always work out. It never works out.
Well, it's funny because after the game on the Kill You With Truth podcast, thank you for the plug, I said before I saw Deion's presser, I said, you can go back and check my math on this. You can go back and look at it. I said, he's going to be pissed off. Yeah. He's going to be pissed off because they're just making undisciplined mistakes. Now, at the end of the game, I saw what Ketabo or whatever his name was did, and I forget to say Ketabo, yeah. That was cheap-ass garbage, okay? I do not blame the CU players for sticking up for their teammate in that particular instance because it was such a cheap-ass move. And that dude from ASU, in my opinion, should be suspended. I mean, you can't do that. You can't go head-to-head contact after the game's over. I'm sorry, dude. You guys lost. I'm an ASU fan, but that's BS. That's unsafe. That's dangerous. And so the disturbance at the end of the game, I kind of get. I do. But, dude, the rest of the game, you got to play with passion, but somehow stay under control. So I'm not asking them to be robots, not at all. Clearly, their passion is one of the reasons they've overexcelled this year. But, David, where's the balance between just being incredibly fired up, it's personal, all that stuff, and, being smart at the same time? And I think that's what this team, and I think this is what Prime is so frustrated about, that I'm sure they're being coached the right way. I have no doubts about it. But they're all just a pinch just a pinch immature. And I would hate to see them lose a game that they should win. I don't think that has happened. I think their passion has helped them excel, but I don't want to see them lose a game that they should win because of something dumb. And there were enough dumb things to keep that game a lot closer than it should have been.
Oh yeah, no doubt. We haven't made any of these games, any of these wins easy for us, and that's been the theme. And it was kind of refreshing, honestly, to see Coach Prime have that kind of. I felt like he kind of reached a breaking point with some of the performance, because we've been waiting for them to kind of turn the corner, and play that complete game. For me, there's a little bit more patience with the lines, just because I feel like we need to get some more talent in there. With that, the one thing that's driving me crazy, DMac, and this covering the Denver Broncos for so long, I can't even remember the guy's name. The special teams. I mean, I'm losing my mind with special teams because I feel like
I talk about this all the time. I am the most. I would be the greatest special teams coordinator ever because I would take zero chances. I would hardly ever return a kick. I would kick the ball out of bounds the vast majority of the time.
Yes.
College is a little bit different. It's a little bit different because college is a little bit less predictable than the NFL. Special teams mistakes in the NFL are, in my mind, ridiculous. But I don't think it's a lot different in college, depending on the situation. So when I see a muff punt or, what was the one on CU? They hit the guy before the field.
Yeah.
That was the CU game, right?
Yeah.
What happens, I think, a lot in special teams is you just have guys desperate to make a play because they don't play the vast majority of the game.
Yeah.
If you had guys on special teams that actually play quite a bit, they wouldn't be as desperate to do something. So all those kids out there, and this happens in the NFL, listen, man, I'm only out here for 5 or 6 plays the whole game. I feel like I got to do something. And it can get you in a whole heck of a lot of trouble. That being said, Mata, oh my goodness gracious, what a clutch performer. I'm glad he got to dance. That kid is just and I think they have 3 kickers, correct? I believe they have Mata, Feely, and another kid. But they were kicking the ball like out of bounds. It's a kickoff, dude. Just hit the ball down the middle as far as you can.
I know. Yeah. I think we were using I always forget his name. I think it's Palazzo 98 on kickoffs. I think we just need to go with Feely moving forward. I think he's got the best leg on the kickoffs. And right now, Mata, man, he's never missed a field goal in his college career from from 45 inside.
So hold on. Is he automatic? Automatic. Something like that, right?
That's it, man. That's it.
Automatic. Maybe he's automatic. Automatic. I don't know. Something like that.
I love it. But, with this team, again, one thing that I've enjoyed, again, nothing's been perfect yet. I think we are seeing gradual improvement. We actually did a great job at stopping the run for this game, which we've been terrible at the first 5 games of the season for the most part, but lacking a little bit in coverage. Our pass rush and conditioning, you might have noticed this too, DMac, as the game went on. Our pass rush, which was not existent in the second half, was so much more prominent throughout the second half. I think our conditioning was great. We didn't have guys cramping up as opposed to, some of the ASU guys. And I think that did make a difference and has made a difference for us here in the second half of some of these games. But we're just going to have to look to see when they put together a complete game. I have stopped predicting when that's going to happen, but I hope it happens against Stanford.
They host Stanford Friday night, so you would hope that, and Stanford's not good at all. That should be a lot easier of a win on Friday night. But dude, look at their schedule the rest of the way. Ooh,
we can't play like we played against UCLA, Oregon State, Utah, all these guys.
I mean, it is a collection of really good teams the rest of the way. It's like, oh man, it's like, I don't know, bro. Like, you got to get this win against Stanford. You know what's crazy about CU? I know you're supposed to get 6 wins to get an invite. Let me just ask you, if they only had 5 wins, do you think they would still get invited to a bowl?
Oh, no doubt. No
Right.
doubt.
Right.
It has to happen with the TV ratings.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely has to happen. And I've seen some people that are upset, about the idea. I still think this team can win. I predicted them to win to go 8-4. We'll see,
8-4.
how
All right.
that
So who
goes.
else? Who
But
else do you
yeah,
have them beating the rest of the year?
well, I had us beating UCLA.
Okay.
So that one's on the road, and then I have them. I don't feel as good about this right now. Washington State, they had a losing record in conference last year, which was why I was like, that game should be gettable.
They've been
They've,
better this year.
yeah, they have blown away my expectations. So nothing is easy. Arizona, I had them winning, but I mean, they played USC really well this
Yeah,
past
somebody
weekend.
reached out to me and said Arizona's defense is better than Oregon's defense, and I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, I got it. I got you. So, okay, but they're 3-3, I think, right now. They're doing all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. But in order to handle this, I mean, we gotta play how we play in the fourth quarter. All these games. If we can just do that, I feel like we can win these games. But if we're going to continue to, make these plays on special teams that are just, all over the place, and as long as we continue to run the ball, we get in these spurts where we get away from it, and then our offensive line struggles. So
I think
hopefully
if
the bye week will serve us well.
Shadur reminded me kind of Nikola Jokic that you try to distribute the ball, you try to get everybody involved, but at the end of the day, Shadur is just like, well, forget it. I got to put it up the team on my back.
Yeah.
I get nervous. Like, I mean, he's trying to. I mean, Shadur's a big dude and he's strong and all that.
Yeah.
But if your mentality is I got to bowl over linebackers and safeties, I mean, that just makes me nervous. That's all. I think
Yes.
he's a tough young man. I think he's a winner beyond belief. Just watching him take some of those hits and putting his shoulder down is like, okay, all right, are you okay? Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Because without Shadur, seriously, dude, I mean, they are in big trouble without Shadur.
Yeah, pack it in without him, because we don't have any of these wins without him. And the fact that he is the most hit quarterback right now in college football, leading the league in passing, it just it reminded me of, because again, you got me into Josh Allen years ago when you were just so high on him with the draft. The way he would perform against pressure at Wyoming, I think the way that Shadur has performed against so much pressure that he's faced this year, I think it really speaks well to what he's going to do at the NFL level. Always having guys in his face, but still throwing dimes. I've just been really impressed by that. But we got to protect
it. The NFL, though, it's a different world, man. It's a different world.
You cannot be taking hits like that.
And Shadur's basically a pocket passer. He is.
Yeah.
He's kind of a typical big pocket passer. But I even think pocket passers in the NFL have to be able to run a little bit. But Shadur's not a run first sort of guy. He's kind of a typical, he's a guy that he's like a throwback guy that you've seen a long time ago. But he'll run, Josh Allen's probably a pretty fair comparison. Although I don't think Shadur, when he gets to the NFL, I think it was weird with Allen because he struggled with the accuracy issues because he's playing up in that wind tunnel up there in Laramie,
Right.
So that's just not the case at Folsom. The weather conditions are a lot more tame than they are in Laramie. So I think Shadur's in better shape. I think Shadur is probably going to make a lot of NIL money. I think he already is. That's good. Right on. I mean, that's all good. I think he should. I hope he does stay for one more year. Become the number 1 overall draft pick and give CU a shot of playing in the college football playoff.
Yes. I think we'll be right there. I think we're going to bring in another very stout transfer class, this year. We'll see where it goes. But I think he's going to be a phenomenal quarterback. I hope he stays here, for the 2 years. But that brings me to, let's spend a little bit of time here talking Denver Broncos as well for our Colorado viewers. You always think we're reaching a new low here, but we continue to surprise ourselves. I forgot until this week that the Bears have the Panthers pick and the Panthers, man. I'm
Right.
really wondering if they win a game. Should I just start looking at Drake May tape instead of Caleb Williams? Are we kind of out of the running, you think, for
Well,
for
May
him?
just scorched my Syracuse Orange last weekend. So, the Broncos, believe it or not, are third right now if the draft was held today. So to answer that question, yeah, you probably. I mean, gosh, it pains me to think of the Broncos finishing that poorly. But the problem that they have is not Russell Wilson. The problem they have right now is the literally historically one of the worst run defenses in NFL history. They are fourth in NFL history for yards allowed in 3 consecutive games at 755 yards. Never mind Broncos history. I'm telling you, fourth in NFL history. And I was talking with Chad Brown today. See you. There you go.
Yep.
And I said, well, how do you fix a poor run defense? And he goes, you can't. And I agree with Chad on that because the problems are so deep. We take stopping the run in the NFL somewhat for granted. Like if an NFL team runs for 120 yards on you, it's like, oh, well, that's a pretty good day. One guy's got 70, another guy's got 20, another guy's got 15, quarterback has 20, something like that. They ran for, what was it, 250 something yards? I mean, Breece Hall had 177 yards. Listen, man, if you can't stop the run, every single team in the NFL is going to run the ball down your throat. Teams will not pass if they know they can run on you. This stat, the Jets averaged more per run than Russell Wilson averaged per pass yesterday.
That is insane.
So where are the Broncos? In trouble. In trouble. And it's not on Russell Wilson. Listen, Wilson needed to be more careful with the ball at the end of the game, but guys are going to make plays. They get paid too. They're great athletes. Quincy Williams made just an amazing play on the outside blitz to catch Russell Wilson and knock the ball away. They got lucky with the bounce for the scoop and score, and that was the ball game. But it's not like the Broncos were like that close. They were getting their butts kicked. And it's ironic that there was a lot of rushing yards, but the Broncos defense was pretty stout in the red zone as the Jets were 0-5. I mean, the score of that game could have been a lot worse. So where are the Broncos facing the Chiefs, who they've lost 15 in a row to on Thursday? They're in trouble, my man. They're in trouble. If they lose the game on Thursday, it will be the worst 6-game start they've had in their history.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. And for my viewers who don't know this, the Broncos have won the Super Bowl more recently than the last time they beat the Chiefs. Is that correct? Because I think...
Yes. Yeah, their first loss of this 15-game stretch, you might remember it actually. Their first loss in this 15-game stretch was a loss at home against the Chiefs where Peyton Manning had a 0 quarterback rating. He was hurt, and he was booed off the field. He also set the NFL record for passing on a very short little pass because the week before he was 6 yards short of setting that record. He was 6 yards short because the Colts have one of the weirdest drives ever. They had a 6.5 minute, 45-yard drive to end the game. And the reason why, because that is so weird when you think about it, you're only going down half the field. You're either going to score or give up the ball. But the reason why that drive got extended was because Aqib Talib went 3 Stooges and doinked a guy in the eyes. And it gave the Colts a first down from like the 10-yard line where the Broncos were already out of timeouts. So because Peyton Manning didn't set the record against the Colts and he was hurt, they played him against the Chiefs the next week just to set the record. He shouldn't have even played. He got the record very early in the game, but had a 0 quarterback rating, 0. Brock Osweiler came in the second half and gave him a shot, but Peyton Manning wouldn't play again until the Chargers game at the end of the season. However, he would go on and win the Super Bowl for them that year. But that was the first loss. So, for example, I'm trying to think of a player because Justin Simmons was on No, I don't think he was. No, Justin Simmons was on the team the next year. So Justin Simmons, who's been on the team for 7 years, has never beaten the Chiefs.
And now that McManus is gone, he has to be the longest tenured player, right?
I'm thinking of Bowles. No, I think it is Simmons. I believe you're right about Simmons. So, yeah, there's all sorts of very, very strange numbers in this matchup right now.
Wow. And that reminds me, this wasn't a question that I had on my mind, but I wanted to ask you this when I heard you say this last week. I think you mentioned something just very quickly and then went on to another talking point. I think you said that in terms of Denver Broncos greatest coaches, you said Gary Kubiak is the greatest coach for the team. Did I remember that correctly?
You did, but listen. I'm not going to fight you too hard if you want to say Mike Shanahan.
I'm just curious your logic. Yeah,
I covered both of them. I love Mike Shanahan. I think he's a genius. He's one of my favorite guys. Great dude. I just think the way Gary Kubiak handled things was just beyond brilliant. I loved his temperament. I just loved how he balanced being in charge, the amount of respect he had, the way he coached the other coaches. He was on guys when he needed to be on guys, but he wasn't beating them up all the time. And Mike is great too. So if you want to say Mike, not Gary, I'm seriously not going to fight you on that. But what Gary did the year they won the Super Bowl, and pretty good job the next year too, when Peyton was gone. That's the last year they actually had a winning record. They went 9-7. I was always really impressed by Gary. So, but again, I'm not here to make a big argument. If you just want to say Shanahan, I'll be like, yeah, I get it.
Nah. I thought it was really interesting because, you bring up some points about him that I really agree with. That I think the players, maybe outside of Paxton Lynch, loved him, man.
What they did with Gary more than loved him is you can love a lot of coaches. I think the players love Nathaniel Hackett. Seriously, he's a nice guy. But it's does your coach motivate you?
Yeah.
Does he inspire you? And do you respect him? And whether you love him or not, I think it's more important to have a healthy amount of fear and respect. So loving a coach is kind of like, is this a guy you want to play for? That's a better one, and not your best buddy, not like Hackett, who's like a whoopee, a safety blanket, a palsy-walsy. That's fine for an assistant coach. And as a coordinator, it's like, okay. And it was a big day for Hackett yesterday. But as a head coach, you need to have a firm hand on things while still connecting with your players. The problem Sean Payton has is he's really just new to everybody. He's new to a lot of his assistant coaches. He's new to the players. They don't really know him. And he made a big mistake with the comments he made about Hackett at the beginning of training camp. It was just a mistake. He put his players in a no-win situation. It was embarrassing, and it served unbelievable motivation for the Jets. I was there to witness it. They were pumped up about the whole thing.
Yeah. I totally agree with you there. If you're gonna talk the talk, you got to walk it. And there's been instances where we just haven't seen that, and we'll see how the rest of the year unfolds. It's unfortunate that I feel like we're going to go through our third straight fire sale with some guys getting shipped off here in the next few weeks.
Well, this one could be epic. This could be epic. You go into that break 1-7. I'm watching the Packers right now. They're not really doing anything. They're down 10-3 to the Raiders right now. So I don't know. Maybe you beat the Packers at home, I suppose. But you're going to have a conversation at 2-6. And the Broncos bye week is right at the trade deadline. And so, man, you're going to have some big decisions to make.
No doubt. Yeah. Before the season started, it was hard for me to find 7 wins on the schedule for the team just because of the brutal schedule that I feel like they got.
Yeah, well, you certainly probably thought the Jets without Aaron Rodgers. You probably thought the Commanders. Yeah. You probably thought the Raiders at home. Listen, man, this is crazy. They have lost 3 straight games at home while they've had the lead at halftime.
It's crazy.
I know. The numbers just keep piling up. It's crazy. It is crazy.
Oh, man. Well, Yeah, hopefully, there will be some at least things to enjoy throughout, the season. Um, as we go throughout the Broncos season, of course, there's going to be a lot of entertaining, good games. I think that we have for the Buffs moving forward. But I wanted to leave you with this last question, DMac, then I'll let you
All
go. Appreciative
right.
of your time. I want to give my viewers a chance again when I have you on here to get to know you a little bit more about your personal experiences covering Denver sports for so long. What between Jokic and Peyton Manning, two of the biggest stars that you've covered during your time here, you said Jokic was the most interesting, which I found that very interesting. What do you find maybe so compelling about Jokic, or rather like just comparing him, I guess, contrasting him to Peyton Manning?
They're both fascinating. I was thrilled to be able to cover, still covering Jokic, but thrilled to cover Peyton. Thought Peyton was a great guy. Peyton's intensity and attention to detail is freaking ridiculous. So we go 4 years, I'm covering him, and he never mentions me by name, even though I had a one-on-one and other interactions, but not in a bad way. But then he was dealing with injury stuff in year 4, and he went through he called it the media injury list. He goes, "Oh, what would you guys think if Cliss over there has a hurt ankle and DMac over here has a rash?" I'm like, I didn't even know you knew my name, and he has a attention to detail that is crazy, and he presses people. Very businesslike. Jokic is also very businesslike, but he doesn't give a crap about extra things. However, their similarities are they expect they're fun-loving guys, both of them.
Yeah.
But they expect when you step on the field or on the court that you're as serious about what's going on when it's time to be serious as they are. So their expectation levels of their teammates and coaches is through the roof, and they'll both let their coaches, teammates, and coaches know it. The difference is Peyton's kind of like that all the time. So he's kind of like that just, when he's getting gas at the pump. If there's something not right, he'll have an issue. Jokic, when it's off the court, he doesn't give a crap about anything. I mean, he does not care. So they're both hyper focused and expect the best out of their teammates and coaches playing and practicing, and off the field is where that separates.
That's a beautiful comparison. Yeah, they're both fun guys to root for and to watch for. That's for sure. Definitely. And Buffs fans, if you haven't paid attention to Nikola Jokic, you got to start doing it because you will love him. He's in a different way than Prime, just a really intriguing personality.
Wait, hold on. You think there are people watching this that have not paid attention to Jokic? Wait, hold on, David. I gotta go with an arrogance check on your part. You think you're bringing people up to speed with Nikola Jokic? Am I getting that right? Like you're advising if you haven't heard of this guy, I know he was a 2-time MVP, runner-up the 3rd year, NBA champion. But if you haven't heard of him, Buffs fans, check him out.
DMac, I mean, not to toot my own horn a little bit, but I mean, we got people tuning in here from, Brazil, all sorts of places.
Well, I don't care about people from why? Wait, hold on. Time out. You don't think they watch basketball in Brazil?
I've never heard them mention it to me.
Dude, they watch David. Oh my God. Bro. I love you, but you're not helping anybody. All right. So just tell people about Georgiev, the goalie for the Avalanche. Maybe they could use some help on that guy.
Georgiev.
Oh, yeah. Tell them about Nolan Jones is a crazy good outfielder for the Rockies. I mean, if you're gonna do that, do something that matters.
That's a fair point, DMac. And fun fact, I'm the same exact age as Gabriel Landeskog, born on the same day, same year.
Hey, David, for your viewers, If you haven't heard of this historical figure, he's pretty amazing. His name is Jesus. Just a heads up to the Buffs fans that might not have heard of him.
No, he's coaching. He is coaching the Buffs right now.
Okay.
That's right. Well, with that being said, DMac, I appreciate you, joining me in my lonely corner of my bedroom once again. Always appreciative of your time. Let my viewers know, where, well, I guess we already talked about where they can find you. What do you have coming up that they can look forward to seeing from you this week?
Well, we did a fun podcast today, me, Nate Jackson, and Chad Brown. We actually went to the scene of the crime and did our entire podcast in front of Empower Field. And sometimes the podcasts are as simple as just pointing the phone and talking loud. And that's kind of what we did today. So that was pretty fun. And I'll give you a fun one. We are going to do a live watch along with the Broncos game. Yeah. So on my channel, Kill You with Truth, or Darren McKee, DMac, whatever it is, just follow it on like Twitter at DMac Sports Co. Colorado, CO.
Uh-huh.
And we are going to, myself, Chad Brown, Vic Lombardi, and hopefully Scott DeHuff will be watching the game live, commenting on it, and we'll do half-game analysis or halftime analysis and post-game analysis. So we're looking forward to that coming up on Thursday.
Oh, I'm definitely going to have to tune in for that. So awesome. That'll be much more enjoyable, than just watching it alone, the normal broadcast, and we'll see how it goes.
You are such a dude. Like, do I gotta get you on Tinder or something? Dude, do I gotta? I mean, you're alone. I'm in the corner of my bedroom. I mean, are you all right? You okay, bro?
All I'm saying
I thought
is
you
that
said you were married.
My wife will watch the Buffs games with me, but the Broncos, man, they're just not a compelling product right now.
But you are married, right? You do have a lady in your life.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's not in the bedroom.
I think this is when I leave. This is when I go.
DMac, it's always a blast having you on. Can't wait till we have you on again. And as always, go Buffs, go Broncos. Give us an ending call.
Goodbye, David.
It's been a blast.
Go make your bed. Bye.
I will see you guys.
See ya.